Hello, fellow aficionados. To say yes to others when you want to say no is to trade your peace for their comfort. Stopping the cycle of people-pleasing isn't just about learning to say no more often. It's about reclaiming the power you've been giving away for far too long. Every time you prioritize someone else's needs at the expense of your own, you're not just being agreeable. You're erasing yourself one favor at a time. The real challenge here isn't dealing with the discomfort of turning others down. It's facing the harsh truth that all this time, you've been chasing approval like a beggar desperate for scraps. The question isn't whether you can stop people-pleasing. The question is, how much longer are you willing to sacrifice your own peace just to keep everyone else happy? Because here's the brutal reality. If you don't break free now, they'll keep taking, and you'll keep disappearing. Number 1. Stop feeding the approval monster. When you keep bending over backward to get people's approval, you're essentially feeding a bottomless pit. It's like tossing breadcrumbs into the mouth of a beast that's never full, always craving more. The more you give, the more it demands, until you're drained and left wondering what happened to your sense of self. Seeking approval from others becomes addictive, but it's the worst kind of addiction because the high doesn't last. It's just enough to keep you coming back for more. You end up performing like a circus act, always jumping through hoops for that fleeting nod of acceptance. And guess what? The beast isn't even that impressed. Here's the real kicker. No amount of approval from others will ever be enough to satisfy you because the void isn't external, it's internal. You think you're filling up on compliments, but in reality, you're just avoiding the hard truth that approval from others won't fix the gaps in your own self-worth. It's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty, momentarily refreshing, but only makes things worse in the long run. And let's be honest, the people whose approval you're seeking, half of them are too wrapped up in their own lives to even notice your efforts, and the other half won't remember your performance by tomorrow. So why are you giving away your mental energy for something so transient? Feeding the approval monster doesn't end until you stop feeding it altogether. Break the cycle by shifting your focus inward. Instead of hustling for external validation, start asking yourself, do I approve of me? If the answer's yes, that's the only approval you ever needed. It's like cutting off the monster's food supply. Eventually, it shrivels up and dies. Number 2, you don't owe anyone your niceness. You don't owe anyone your niceness, plain and simple. Niceness should be genuine, not something you dish out because you feel you're obligated to keep everyone else comfortable. Just because someone asks you for a favor doesn't mean you have to slap on a smile and say, of course, like a robot programmed to please. That's not kindness. That's people-pleasing disguised as virtue. And here's the hard truth. When you're nice out of obligation, it's not about them. It's about you trying to avoid the discomfort of saying no. You're not doing them a favor. You're trying to keep your own peace by sacrificing your boundaries. Let's be real for a second. No one walks around handing out gold stars for every unnecessary act of niceness you perform. The more you cater to everyone else's whims, the less they actually value it. It's like giving someone a free pass to your energy bank, and they just keep withdrawing while you're left with nothing but an empty vault and a tired smile. And guess what? Half the time, the people you're bending over backward for wouldn't return the favor if the roles were reversed. You're not obligated to be their personal sunshine on a rainy day. Real kindness comes from a place of strength, not from fear of disappointing others. You get to choose when to be kind, and that choice should come from your values, not because you think you have to be nice to keep the peace. The next time someone asks you for something that crosses your boundaries, remind yourself that you don't owe them a performance. Niceness is a choice, not a requirement. And when you choose it from a place of authenticity, it's far more powerful than any people-pleasing act could ever be. Number 3, master the art of discomfort. Mastering the art of discomfort is essential if you ever want to stop being a people-pleaser. The truth is, you've got to get comfortable with the idea that not everyone is going to be thrilled with you, and that's okay. Saying no feels awkward, right? It's like you're about to throw a wrench into the smooth running machine of someone else's plans, and suddenly the tension is palpable. But guess what? That little moment of discomfort is a lot better than the slow-burning resentment that comes when you keep saying yes to things you don't want to do. Here's the deal. Avoiding discomfort doesn't make it go away. It just pushes it down the road, and it usually comes back bigger and uglier. So you avoid the awkwardness of turning someone down today, but tomorrow you're stuck doing something you hate, all the while feeling frustrated and trapped. And then it hits you. Was it really worth sparing their feelings when now you're the one silently suffering? Spoiler, it's not. Saying no might feel like you're starting a small fire, but in reality, you're just clearing out the dead wood. People might be a little taken aback at first, but eventually they'll respect you more for it. Respect doesn't come from being a doormat. It comes from being someone who knows their own limits and isn't afraid to stand by them. So, lean into the discomfort, because here's the secret, it's temporary. That moment of awkwardness will pass, and on the other side of it is freedom. Freedom from being the go-to person for everyone else's demands, freedom from resentment, and most importantly, freedom to live on your own terms. Number 4, other people's opinions are just noise. Other people's opinions are like background noise, constant, unpredictable, and ultimately irrelevant. Yet we act like their opinions hold the key to our happiness, bending over backward trying to shape ourselves into something that will please them. But here's the truth. No matter what you do, people are going to have opinions, and they'll change as quickly as the wind. One minute, they're praising you. The next, they're criticizing you for the very thing they admired before. So why are you running yourself ragged trying to satisfy something as fickle as public opinion? The real kicker is that most people's opinions aren't even about you. They're projections of their own insecurities, biases, or even just their bad mood on any given day. Yet here you are, letting it dictate how you live your life. It's like letting someone else drive your car while you're stuck in the back seat, helplessly watching them steer you off course. And for what? Approval? Acceptance? Let's be real. Half the people whose approval you're chasing don't even know what they want, let alone what they think of you. Stop wasting your time trying to decipher the noise. What matters is your opinion of yourself. If you're living in alignment with your own values, then the opinions of others become just that, noise. It's background chatter that has no real impact on the direction of your life unless you let it. So stop treating their opinions like a compass and start living by your own true north. Because here's the thing, when you stop caring what people think, you don't lose their respect, you gain your freedom. And that's a trade worth making every single time. Number 5, people-pleasing equals self-avoidance. People-pleasing is actually a sneaky way of avoiding yourself. When you're constantly running around trying to keep everyone else happy, it gives you the perfect excuse to avoid dealing with your own needs and desires. You're so busy fixing everyone else's problems that you don't have to confront your own. It's like living in a state of constant distraction, always focused on others because facing your own life is too uncomfortable. But here's the thing, you're not a hero for doing it, you're just procrastinating, avoiding the real work of addressing your own stuff by drowning yourself in everyone else's mess. The irony is, while you're out here sacrificing your time, energy, and sanity for other people, no one is coming to save you. You're the one left picking up the pieces of your own neglected life, and deep down you know it. You feel that gnawing dissatisfaction, that sense of being out of sync with yourself. That's the price of people-pleasing, always being there for everyone else but never fully showing up for yourself. So why do it? Because it's easier to be needed by others than to face the uncomfortable truth that you've been avoiding your own life. People-pleasing gives you a false sense of purpose, a reason to ignore your own problems while playing the role of the selfless helper. But it's a trap. And the more you fall into it, the further you drift from who you really are. It's time to flip the script. Stop avoiding yourself by hiding behind everyone else's demands. Start paying attention to your own needs, your own growth, and your own happiness. Because the reality is, when you stop playing savior for everyone else, you finally have the space to rescue yourself. Number 6. Saying yes is just delaying conflict. Saying yes to people when you really want to say no is just kicking the can down the road. It feels like you're avoiding a conflict in the moment, but in reality, You're just setting yourself up for an even bigger one later. Every time you agree to something you don't actually want to do, you're building resentment, layer by layer, until one day that nice, calm exterior cracks, and you find yourself snapping at someone over the smallest thing. And let's be honest, they won't even understand why you're suddenly fed up, because you've been pretending to be okay with everything for so long. The truth is, by saying yes all the time, you're not avoiding conflict. You're creating a slow-motion train wreck. You're teaching people that your boundaries don't exist, or worse, that they can be bulldozed. So they keep asking, you keep saying yes, and the cycle continues until eventually you blow up and no one saw it coming. That little yes you said to avoid a bit of discomfort in the moment, it's now a massive pile of frustration you have to dig yourself out of. It's like borrowing trouble from your future self, but instead of paying it back in small doses, you get hit with all of it at once. And let's not forget the toll it takes on you. While you're busy agreeing to things you don't want to do, your personal time and mental energy are slipping away. You're losing the chance to focus on what actually matters to you because you filled up your plate with everyone else's needs. So here's the thing. Stop saying yes to buy temporary peace, because all you're really doing is signing up for long-term chaos. The sooner you rip off the Band-Aid and say no, the sooner you'll find that genuine peace you've been looking for, without the resentment hangover. Number 7. Stop playing the hero in everyone's story. People pleasers often think they're the unsung heroes of everyone's stories, but the truth is, you're not the protagonist in anyone else's life. You're just a bit player in their drama. When you keep showing up to fix everyone else's problems, you're essentially auditioning for a role in a movie you never signed up for. Meanwhile, the real star of your own life's film is being shoved into the background, and you're left wondering why you're feeling so unfulfilled. You're not anyone's personal fixer or emotional janitor. The idea that you need to be the hero in other people's stories is a setup for disappointment. Because here's the kicker. The people you're bending over backward for won't appreciate your efforts nearly as much as you think they will. They're too busy living their own lives, and the sacrifices you're making often go unnoticed or are taken for granted. It's like pouring your energy into a leaky bucket. No matter how much you give, it never seems to fill up. So why are you trying to be the hero? The role isn't as glamorous as it sounds. It's a thankless job that leaves you exhausted and questioning your own worth. Instead of getting tangled up in everyone else's problems, focus on your own script. You're not obligated to play a bit part in their stories. You've got your own leading role to work on. When you start prioritizing your own life, you'll find that you have a lot more energy for things that actually matter to you, things that make you the true star of your own show. Number 8. Own your boundaries like they're sacred. Boundaries are like your personal force field, and they're not just important, they're sacred. Yet, for some reason, people pleasers act like they're made of rubber, stretching and bending until they snap. The problem is, if you don't protect your boundaries, you're essentially handing out free passes to everyone to invade your space, time, and energy. It's like having a sign on your door that says, "Open 24/7 for all your demands," and wondering why you're always tired and frazzled. Think of your boundaries as the bouncers at an exclusive club. They're there to keep out the riffraff and ensure that only those who respect your personal space and time get in. When you let anyone and everyone breach those boundaries, you're not just allowing chaos into your life, you're practically inviting it in for tea. And let's face it, no one respects a doormat. If you're constantly saying yes to everything and everyone, your boundaries become a joke. They're not barriers, they're mere suggestions. So set your boundaries with the seriousness of a no-nonsense bouncer. Protect them like they're your last line of defense against overwhelm. When people realize that your boundaries are non-negotiable, they'll either respect them or move along. Either way, you'll end up with more time and energy for yourself, and a lot less stress from trying to please everyone. It's not about being rigid or unkind. It's about honoring your own needs and ensuring that you're the one in control of your own life. So, make your boundaries sacred and watch as the respect and peace follows. Number 9. Reject the illusion of harmony. People-pleasing often starts from a place of wanting to be liked, but the reality is, the more you try to be everything to everyone, the more you dilute your own identity. It's like trying to blend in at a costume party by wearing a plain outfit. Sure, you might avoid standing out, but you also blend into the background, completely forgettable. When you're busy molding yourself to fit others' expectations, you end up becoming a shadow of your true self. Vague, indistinct, and, well, pretty boring. Here's the twist. While you're busy shaping yourself to fit in with everyone's preferences, you're not just losing a bit of yourself. You're losing the chance to be genuinely interesting. People don't remember or respect those who are always conforming. They remember those who are unapologetically themselves, even if it means ruffling a few feathers. If you're constantly adjusting your personality like a chameleon on overdrive, you're just another face in the crowd, easily overlooked and quickly forgotten. So, let's stop the charade. Stop being the human chameleon who adapts to every situation at the expense of who you really are. Embrace your quirks, your passions, and your opinions. Sure, some people might not get it, but the ones who do will appreciate you for who you genuinely are, not some watered-down version that fits their comfort zone. And trust me, the people who value the real you will be far more fulfilling than any number of shallow accolades or fleeting approvals. In the end, breaking free from people-pleasing is less about grand gestures and more about small, deliberate shifts in how you value yourself. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't tied to how well you cater to everyone else's whims, but rather in staying true to who you are, regardless of external validation. The journey to reclaiming your time, energy, and peace of mind isn't always easy, but it's profoundly liberating. When you stop trading your happiness for temporary approval and start living according to your own standards, you'll find that you're not just more content, you're also more genuine. You'll attract the right kind of relationships and opportunities, ones that respect and value the real you. So, take that first step towards honoring your own boundaries and desires, and watch as your life transforms from a series of endless approvals to one of authentic fulfillment. Thanks for watching, fellow aficionados. Please share this video, like, comment below, and subscribe if you haven't joined the community already. Take care, stay strong, stay stoic. See you in the next video.